Today, I'm breaking my pattern of land battle and domination every day to bring you a very special second land battle 2v2. Nikari teaming up with Morathi to take on the High Elf brothers of Tyrion and Teclis. We'll start with the High Elf side. Got Teclis forces here, led by him, of course. Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers, got some Sisters of Avalorn, Silver and Guard up front mixed with Spearmen, some Illyrian Reavers, right? Yep, a couple of Illyrian Reavers, some Rangers as well. For Tyrion's forces, he's got the Fireborn to back him up, Handmaiden of the Everqueen, Caster of Death here, some Spearmen, as well as Lothern Seaguard, and a Great Eagle up in the sky. What is that? Fire Phoenix? Flame Spire Phoenix. Moving on to the forces of Pleasure. For myself, I've got a couple of Hellstriders, 3 Hellstriders, and a Heartseeker here. Or, sorry, this is not myself. This is my ally, Slaanesh. Devoted Marauders, Bringers of Beguilement. Got some Nikari here, some more Anti-Infantry Marauders, Demonettes, 3 Furies in the Sky, some more Anti-Infantry Marauders. For myself, 3 Scourge Runner Chariots, Morathi and Death Hag both on foot. We've got 2 Manticores, Slaanesh's Harvesters, of course, because you got to. Some Dark Riders with shields, and 2 Repeater Crossbows. So I've kind of brought auxiliary supporting mobile ranged forces to keep up with Slaanesh, and also to help them out. And then Morathi should be able to support this infantry fight. This Death Hag is promptly going to go into tactical reserve, so we'll check back with her in a minute. Let's get to the action. Get a nice cinematic shot of the forces of Pleasure here. Maneuvering up the hill. ROR Demonettes. Unfortunately, we don't have access to the new ROR Cavs in our build. 1.3 Cavalry Regiments of Renown, which is unfortunate, but there will for sure be in Immortal Empires, obviously. You can see the Furies kind of maneuvering up around the side here. Demonettes and Nikari as well. The Handmaiden's going to start to poke away with her magic bow. Do a little bit of damage, nothing too crazy, especially considering the ultra HP pools. Myself, I'm pushing up a lot of my mobile forces on this flank. Kind of overload here and collapse this side very quickly so we can roll up this entire infantry force. So in order to do so, we're going to fly the Manticores over and maybe like drop some little rear charges here. Scourge Runner Chariots, I also want to save my ammo as much as I can for like the Star Dragon, Flame Spire Phoenix, Tyrion as well. But a big, huge engagement getting underway as the Slaanesh Cavalry moves up around the side here. We're going to drop a little Manticore charge so that the Heartseekers were able to, I think, briefly get a rear charge bonus. Side charge from the Manticore here as well. Nikari gets into combat against the Handmaiden. Going to take her out in a huge hurry. A little bit of overblobbing here as well, but Marauders getting in, Demonettes getting in. This huge cavalry collapse also comes through. You can see Spearmen getting terrified away very quickly. That nice lash of Slaanesh, I believe, affects friendly targets, but Dark Riders getting in here, Slaanesh's Harvesters getting in here. Huge, huge cavalry and chariot overload already breaking through into the second level. Furies do swoop down, get on the Sisters of Avalorn, do some very solid damage, but Morathi's a little slow to get into combat to help. Could have maybe helped those Marauders win a little bit more decisively, but Nikari also gets himself into a very rough position. He's not going to be able to get away with the charge animation and the mass also of the Fireborn now in a full surround. With that huge anti-large weapon strength, you can see they're just shredding Nikari in a big hurry. The Flamespire Phoenix also taking some significant damage, but Demonettes desperately trying to go help. They're going to take some fire from the Lothern Seaguard. Meanwhile, nice Star Dragon Breath hits a bunch of Slaaneshi Cavalry and a beautiful Chain Lightning also from Teclis there, I guess. Yeah, he actually did bring Chain Lightning, so there's a ton of damage. Going to finish off my Slaanesh's Harvesters and just in general get some huge value, but meanwhile, that bombardment drop also probably just killed off my Manticore. So starting to run out of steam a little bit in terms of the light cavalry, but the Chariot's definitely still online. Bringers of Beguilement. Let's see this Convocation. Nope, just hits a couple of Marauders instead, which is just fine. Morathi also getting into combat here. Heartseekers go up and around. They're going to get a nice rear charge. Haven't got too many cinematic shots, so let's get in close. There's a lot going on in a big 2v2 like this, but you can see the Star Dragon pulling away Tyrion. Teclis, all trying to get out of this pocket that's collapsing very rapidly. The Manticore is pushing through, light cavalry, the Dark Riders, obviously, with their ranged attacks, and the Scourge Runner chariots, all very dangerous. You can see a regrowth already been used on the Star Dragon to keep it topped up. Likewise, Soul Stealer being cast here. Unfortunately, the damage on Soul Stealer is pretty poor right now. Hopefully, it will get buffed before Immortal Empire's releases, because it's, like, kind of useless right now. It's almost worth just not even taking it with Morathi, which is kind of the whole point of taking Morathi. But Nakari's managed to survive this whole time. Did some good damage to the Fireborn, and managed to bail himself out. But a brutal, direct breath attack from, like, literally straight vertical down, even at, like, a kind of a weird angle almost. That was intense. Just kills Nakari outright. And of course, Teclis with the Kindle Flame proc on the net does boost the damage of the Star Dragon's breath. So that's pretty brutal. That's a lot of value down. And all of a sudden, I'm not sure I have enough ammunition to actually take out both the Star Dragon and a Tyrion. So I'm going to be relying on Morathi's melee prowess a little bit. The Bringers of Beguilement also should be very key. They are obviously elite not anti-large, but elite AP with that devastating flanker. Soul Scent also could be proccing up, depending on if we have units low on leadership. But let's see. Few devoted Marauders also still fighting around. The Dark Riders trying to chase some routing units off in the periphery. So we'll bring it here close to the action where things are actually mattering. Another Soul Stealer there hits Teclis a little bit. Hit too many other units. Perhaps might hit those Spearmen and such as well, but this is perfect. Morathi gets a very good engagement with Demonettes in support. The Demonettes obviously getting AP damage into the back and rear of Tyrion. So this should be pretty good if we're able to actually route Tyrion off here and see him off the battlefield. Unfortunately, you know, I'd have to chase him with my light cavalry, which for the time being, they're putting some shots into this Great Eagle here and the Phoenix, trying to break them both. They do get enraged, it looks like, by the Bringers of Beguilement, but will they get the healing proc? It does look like the Flamespire did get a healing proc there. Pretty much out of ammunition on my Scourge Runner chariots now, which is definitely a problem. We also didn't manage to rout Tyrion. He did squeak away there, so he's going to come back through for some more fun. Regular Demonettes there should be able to do some damage, but they are getting pretty low, and oh no, not another Chain Lightning. Or is this, ooh, a Purple Sun from the Deathcaster? That is definitely going to finish off those Demonettes, and all of a sudden, I'm 2v1 with Morathi versus Tyrion. Very bad situation. We're going to drop a Soul Stealer and rush in with Chariots just to block the Phoenix's mass so that it, you know, becomes, again, a 1v1. Start to turn in Morathi's favor once more, except then she gets absolutely knocked over for no reason, which is hilarious. Caster also comes over to try and make it a 2v2, and a huge overcast net from Teclis, preparing perhaps for another breath attack. Also, of course, for a nice fiery convocation here to finish off this last devoted Marauder. Star Dragon comes in, and now Tyrion should probably collapse also to make this a 4v1 on single entity fights, with Morathi facing off against the Caster, the Dragon, and the two Lords, but the Dragon goes elsewhere. The Heartseeker is going to get a nice round and do some brutal damage to the Star Dragon. Getting surrounded by a Slanesh unit is never fun. That being said, Morathi is getting beat down at the same time. I do have a few Pocket Soul Stealers, perhaps, if I could keep her alive, but I'm going to have to rush in the Chariots. Bringers of Beguilement also rush in there. They could have perhaps stayed on that Death Mage and finished him off, but just rushing everything in to try and save Morathi at this point and break Tyrion. It's super close right now, guys. Flamespire Phoenix also diving again. I think, does it actually have the Flaming Phoenix Feces drop? That is the question. The Heartseeker's also trying to finish off Teclis. They're kind of escorting him right now, but unfortunately they do hit their leadership debuff, and they're just all of a sudden going to drop in a big hurry. The last few shots from my repeater crossbows hopefully can finish off the Star Dragon. It's very low on HP. It's at its healing cap. The Tyrion also enraged by the Bringers of Beguilement, fully surrounded here. Did manage to rout Morathi, though, so that's a little bit of a disaster. Flamespire Phoenix, yes, finally is going to drop some hot Flaming Phoenix Feces loads all over and do some critical damage to the Bringers of Beguilement there. They are very much needed now to take out Tyrion, because I don't have enough ranged firepower to do so, and Morathi's dead in combat. So our opponents, realizing this, Gonna drop some more AoE magic damage. Little Sun Fang there. Doesn't quite get the job done, but at this point, they're kind of blobbed up around the Star Dragon, trying to finish it off. That leaves them somewhat vulnerable, perhaps, to some more drops from the Phoenix. Ooh, it drops right on the Star Dragon's head, which is a little bit unfortunate, but honestly, yeah, even as they're running, a few drops impacting them will finish off their leadership, so a little bit of a rough situation to be in. All of a sudden, I'm not confident that we have the tools to kill Tyrion. We can probably finish off the Phoenix, but a tiny bit of ammunition left on the repeater crossbows. Unfortunately, they're just not super accurate. They're going to have a hard time actually hitting Tyrion consistently, but we'll see. Finally, the Forgotten Death Hag is coming into combat here. I mean, she had seen a little bit of combat earlier, right? Yeah, she's got 66 kills, but now she's actually going to perhaps play a pretty critical role in dealing the last bit of damage to Tyrion and Teclis. But we'll see. I'm going to make a judgment call and try and use some of these volleys to finish off the Star Dragon. Yeah, all it takes is a single volley there, and it's done. And then, yeah, I have, what, a handful more shots here? 3 more shots. Try and finish off Tyrion, which is definitely not going to be enough, but we'll see. Maybe with the Death Hag in support, it will be enough. So we'll fast forward a little bit through this chase phase as we kind of all reposition, get the Death Hag back into a position to fight Tyrion. Unfortunately, I can never get my Dark Riders quite in a position to get like a solid shot on Tyrion, so we still have that little bit of ammunition just kind of hanging around there. And you see how they continuously want to get closer rather than actually just holding. An old bug, unfortunately, is back, but yeah, now the Death Hag being on foot is going to get knocked around quite a bit, even by like charging into a horse character, which also seems like a little bit of a bug. But just it takes a couple of attack animations into Teclis, and she should be able to beat him down. That being said, the Dark Rider is also very critical to help support so that she doesn't get killed by Tyrion. Yeah. Death Hag gets bowled over once again. Let's see. Feint and Riposte, stand your ground active. Wow. Tyrion's stats like over 100 each. Currently he is bugged to have both martial and martial prowess and martial mastery, which obviously is not intended, and once again will get fixed before Immortal Empires releases, but doesn't mean that he is exceptionally powerful. Not that he has both of those active right now. Oh no, he does have both of those active right now. That's great. So it's going to be really hard for any of my units to get any attacks in on him, but at the very least we can try and finish Teclis. We'll continue fast forwarding as we do so. A little bit of Sea Fang, Sun Fang again, and somehow Tyrion has still both that martial prowess and martial mastery active, so Death Hag's just struggling to make consistent contact with him. And yeah, again, the bolt throwers, or sorry, the repeater crossbows, they did get like maybe one weird shot in there, but eventually Teclis gets finished off fully, and the Death Hag comes back to fight Tyrion. We do manage to get him. No, he still has. Oh yeah, that's right. It's down to 25% HP now, right? So it's going to be almost impossible for me to kill Tyrion. I forgot. It's, yeah, martial prowess and martial mastery both now shut off at 25% HP instead of 50, which is great for the High Elves. Definitely a well-deserved, well-needed buff. Not so great for me in this situation specifically. So well played to our opponents there. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. It's definitely a fun one, you know. I feel like if I maybe hadn't forgotten my Death Hag and had been able to get some more shots on Tyrion consistently throughout the battle, we could have maybe finished him off there at the end. But it's definitely very close. In terms of my own value here, Morathi getting some pretty good work done. Death Hag also, considering how cheap she is, she probably pays for herself. Scourge Runner Chariots, still good. Definitely confirm that. As are Manticores and Repeater Crossbows and Dark Riders. Actually, just most stuff in my build seemed pretty cost-effective. Not the Slaanesha's Harvesters, though. They got completely killed. In terms of the actual Slaanesh units, Nakari, pretty good stuff. Not quite paying for himself, but definitely up there. The Bringers of Beguilement, though, absolute MVPs. 144 kills, 2,370 damage value. The regular Demonettes, also very good. I think Demonettes are just generally going to be decent against Elves, as long as they don't get shot too much. At, you know, high charge, high damage will evaporate the lower HP of a lot of Elven units pretty quickly. Cavalry, a little bit of a mixed bag. Not quite where you'd want to see in terms of value, but pretty close. Same thing with the Furies, like only one of them pays for themselves. The low-tier Marauders, though, again, proving how effective they can be with supporting, like, fast attack units. Anti-infantry option just means when a unit breaks or gets terror routed, they can come in and clean up a lot of value very efficiently. So it's a fun one, definitely. And in terms of just, Slaanesh versus elves, we'll talk a little bit more about that at a later date, in terms of them matching up with all three of the different elven factions. But today it's just more about the fun theming and everything. I'll quickly run through the elves value. Tyrion, though, 4,551, 20,000 damage dealt. A lot to high value targets, still 96 kills too, 2,477 on the Fireborn. They're definitely going to be a solid option. That, elite shock cavalry, high charge with bonus versus large versus Slaanesh seems pretty solid, despite the fact that they may run into some nasty magic damage. Likewise, Mage of Death, pretty good value, especially like on that Purple Sun and stuff. Like to see some Eagle value there as well. Flamespire Phoenix just about paying for himself. And then all of the infantry pretty much dies horribly. So there you go. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching this one. If you like this sort of content, you want to support what I'm doing here, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button, become a channel member if you feel so inclined, or I also have a Patreon page if you look in the description below. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.